welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland. My name's Fiona, and in today's video I am going to be making a Father's Day gift for my dad. I'm going to be using this mould which I was kindly gifted from Beebeecraft a couple of hauls back maybe. I'll try to find the video and link it for you, but I will have the link to this mould and a discount code in the description of this video if you're interested. Anyway, right, so what I am planning to do is I am going to put a photo in the centre section of the D, and I had originally been going to do like a motorbike theme because my dad loves his motorbike, so I got little motorbike charms and things and I was going to put them in it, especially in the base. This is the base that the frame stands up in, excuse the dog hairs, but then I thought my dad's really quite a simple person. Well, not simple, I maybe shouldn't say it like that. He's a plain person. I don't think he would appreciate it, but I don't think it's right for this gift, especially since I'm going to be using one of my wedding photos of me and my dad, basically because we never get photos taken together and it's the only decent photo of us I can find, even though it was 22 years ago this year. Anyway, so I have already printed out the photo. Now this is what the photo looks like now. This is the original photo, and as much as I love my wee cousin Emma, who was my maid of honour there, I didn't want her in this photo, so I have changed the background, as you can see. If you want to know how I did that, it was a website called remove.bg. If you want a tutorial on how to do it, just let me know and I can do that. But I thought I would just sort of skip these steps for you to save a little bit of time in this video. So I have got this photo in the rough size that I want, and I have taken a bit of acetate and just traced round the section that I want the photo in, and I'm going to use this to basically cut the photo where I want it. So that is what I'm going to do just now. Then I am going to, for the rest of the frame, like I said, he's quite a plain person, so I'm just going to use one colour. I think I'm going to probably use a chameleon colour. I've not quite decided yet. I'm thinking with it just being the one colour, it might be nice to make it a chameleon powder so that it's got a little bit of interest to it. I'm not going to do glitter because, like I say, he's really not a glitter person either. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut the photo, dust the mould where I want it, and then I'm going to put some resin in here, add my photo, and that'll be it for this part. I'm going to let that cure. So let's get on with doing that just now. While I am tracing this and cutting it out, I'll speed that up for you and give you a little bit of music. This is cut where I want it, and I almost forgot I need to seal it because I don't want the colours to bleed when it's in the resin. I am going to seal it. I'm just going to give it a couple of layers of Mod Podge, and that can be drying while I am dusting this. So I won't bother doing that on camera. It's just Mod Podge. You can use any sealer at all, and it's really just going over it to make sure there's not going to be any areas of bleeding of the ink. Right, while the Mod Podge is drying, I'm going to dust the mould. So I'm going to use this Let's Resin Chameleon Powder in Gold. I've not used this one very much, so I thought it'd be quite interesting to try it out. And I am going to just use a brush. I'm going to try one of the new makeup brushes that I got in a recent Temu haul, which I will link for you if you've not seen it. And we shall see how this goes. I've not used them yet. First of all, you need to make sure that your mould is nice and clean and free of hairs, which in this house very rarely happens. So just take a bit of masking tape or whatever, go over your mould. There we go. Now I am basically just going to colour in. It is colouring in, I suppose. where the outlines are for the letters, and I'm going to try not to get any powder in the other spaces. If so, it's easy enough to clean up, but it's a lot better if you don't have to. So, oh look, how nice is that? So I'll put you on, I'll speed you up now and give you some music while I do this. So that is it all dusted. Of course I did manage to get it everywhere, so I'm going to clean it up. I did want to make sure that I got up the sides as well, so that it's got a nice edge on it, but I might still end up edging it in a pen. We'll wait and see. I'm just going to tap out all of the excess now. I have to say it was a very nice mould for dusting. The powder did stick to it really nicely. You can see the outline now. And then I'll probably just take my big brush. Ouch, I love this, it's so soft, and basically just dust out the excess. I'll do it over the bin though. Right, so now I am just left with the bits there to clean up, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to use baby white for the bigger bits, and then I will use like cotton buds. In fact, where's my, hold on. I actually prefer these to the cotton buds because they stay together more. These tend to kind of fall apart and make a mess. So I like these, which are, I think, meant to be makeup removers. I got them on Temu. So I'm just going to spray them with a little bit of alcohol and go around the sort of bits that I can't get with the baby white. And I am going to probably use just a micro brush to try to get the colour off between the letters, just so that there's a bit of distinction there. So that's what I'm going to do. I will speed you up. Right, there we go. I have cleaned it up as much as I can. I still keep seeing bits there, but I think it's on the other side. And I started cleaning them up, and then I thought, Fiona, that's not going to have resin in it, that's silly. And I might just give it another quick clean up before I actually go to pour the clear resin later on. But that will do it for just now. So what I need to do is I need to now see if my photo is dry enough to do another coat. Yes, it is. So I'm quickly going to do another coat of Mod Podge, and then while that's drying I will mix up my resin, and then I'll come back to you. All I need just now is a small amount of resin to put in there, tiny amount, just enough to have a layer before I put the photo in. So I will come back to you in a wee while. Right, here we go. I have my sealed photo and I have mixed up some resin. I know I said I don't need a lot, but it was the last of the bottles of resin, so I decided just to mix it all, and I've got other projects on the go as well, just in case you think, Fiona, you said you only need a tiny bit and there's about 70 mils in here. Anyway, I just want a small amount in the inside of the D where my photo is going. So I'll just pour a small amount in, and then I will gently move it around to make sure it goes into all the spaces. It does look really bubbly. I'm having mega problems with bubbles in my resin just now, and I don't know if it's because my house isn't overly hot. We keep the house at about 18 degrees, between 18 and 20, unless it's very sunny outside, which it rarely is here in Scotland. So I don't know if it's that, but I do let it sit on my heat mat for a wee while before I mix it. So I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't always cure with loads of micro bubbles, so we'll just see what goes on. We'll see what happens. Right, let's have a little play with this, make sure it gets into all of the little corners. There's a hair. Did I get it? No, I didn't. I think I got it that time. So yeah, want to make sure it's in all of the edges. It will be getting topped with more clear anyway. What I'm going to do is I will be using a black resin in the writing, in the letters, and then once that's cured I will cover the whole thing in a clear resin. You'll see what I mean. Right, I'm going to let that sit for a wee minute to make sure that it's definitely all covered. I'm going to quickly give it a little blast with my heat gun just to try to heat it a wee bit to see if that will stop bubbles. Hold on, I think I am on a bit of a slope. I cannot get my desk level even when I try using a leveling board. I just can't do it, so it's much easier to just prop something under it. Right, I'm going to gently do this because I don't want the resin to go into my letter. You can also use alcohol spray for fine bubbles. Okay, Willa doesn't like the heat gun. But because I've got the mica powder or the chameleon powder around the outside, I don't really want to do that. I can still see a couple of little bubbles there. Let's take my lighter and see. Come on. Nope. Let's take a little micro brush and see if that will even bring them up to the surface so that I can pop them. Bubbles in resin make me think of eggshell in egg. See when you crack an egg and you get a bit of eggshell in it and you try to get the shell out and it just keeps moving? That's what bubbles are like in resin. Does anybody else find that? It's so frustrating. You're like, I can see you right there, bubble. Why are you moving? Because my photo is going directly behind this. I don't really want any bubbles in it. That's better, I think. I think that's better. Let me give it one more quick going over with the lighter just to be on the safe side. Oh, see, there's one there. Right, now I am going to gently put my photo in, and this is where I probably make a mess. I'm going to pop it there and gently lie it down to try to not get too many bubbles in, but who knows? Who knows? I should probably have slid it in, like put the edge of the photo in the bottom and sort of slid it in rather than doing it this way. I didn't think it was going to sink down as much as it has and get covered. So, okay, I must have put too much in. So I'm now going to babysit this for the next wee while this resin starts to cure. Not that the bubbles behind it here really matter, you won't see them. I'm more concerned about any bubbles that may be in front of it now. But we'll just need to go with it and see what happens. It's only for my dad won't mind. He's one that he wouldn't even notice. But it's how we learn, isn't it? So yeah, I should have probably done it that way. But I'm just going to keep a wee eye on it, make sure it doesn't do anything crazy while it's curing. And I am also going to dust the base with exactly the same chameleon powder as well. Obviously I'll do that out of the way of this so that oh, there's a little bubble coming, look. So that none of the powder flies into this clear resin. So I'm going to do that and I will catch up with you once this has cured. Good morning, I am back and it's now the next day. This has fully cured. thinking about it, I probably could have done the next layer without that being cured, because I just want to fill in the letters, but I'm a bit clumsy, and I thought if I accidentally dropped any of the black resin onto that when it was still wet, it would all just mix and be a hot mess. So I decided to let it cure, and I have also dusted the base with the same chameleon powder as this. Now I've got no idea how much resin this is going to take, so I have made up 160 mils, and of course I have a hair in it, why wouldn't I? So I am actually using the J. Dixon 4-hour fast cure resin. I don't know if I will get back to this afternoon to do the final layer, but I thought at least it gives me the option. It is very thick and you don't have as much time to work with it, and you can see it's full of bubbles. I can't get my resin to mix without being full of bubbles. I might need to invest in a mixer, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to go with it. So I am just using some black resin pigment paste, and I'm going to put a couple of dots in here, a couple of dots, a couple of drops, maybe 3 because it's quite a lot of resin, and give it a mix up. Oh, that's a lot of bubbles, but I don't want to leave it to sit. I've already let it sit for 5 minutes. I don't want to leave it to sit any longer than that, because you don't have that much time to work with this anyway, the fast cure. So yeah, let's just give it a go and see what happens. The reason I am using black is because it helps the chameleon powder colour to really pop. So that's why I'm going with black. And I was looking at the mould and thinking, if I wanted to get the letters filled up with the black so that the colour that I've dusted on the side pops, that wouldn't work, because the indentation where the letters stop is quite small, so it's only going to take a small amount of black, and I don't know how weird the layers are going to look, but I'm going to go with it. I did think I could fill the whole thing in black, because you won't really see the bottom bit anyway, but then the bit behind the picture is going to be black, and I don't know if you would really see the distinction between the letters. So I'm going to try doing just the letters black this time, and once I know what the mould actually looks like when it's made, I can make a better decision next time. Right, there's not as many bubbles in this now, or at least I can't see them, so that's a good thing. Let's go for the pouring. I'm going to have to do it nice and slowly, because like I said, it's not a very deep area where the letters are divided. So let's just go and see what happens. I'm not the most careful of resiners, so I'm going to put just a small amount in. See what I mean? That is why I didn't do this when that layer was still wet. I'm just going to take, in fact I'll use this, scrape that off there, get back in your own spot. And resin is self-leveling, but it doesn't hurt to give it a little hand to go where you're wanting it to go, especially with this fast cured being thicker. Maybe I shouldn't have used this one. It's actually feeling quite hot already. I've gone over the little line there, and no matter what I'm doing, it's not going to flow back into its own bit, so I'll just leave it just now. It's not flowing very well at all, this resin. I don't want to disturb the mica powder if possible, but I want to make sure that it's in all of the edges. I'm actually not too worried about it being over the wee lines there because it seems to be sitting quite nice. I'm going to put it on a bit of a slope because obviously there's higher edges there than there is here, and it is overflowing slightly at that bit. So put it on a slight slope like that. I will let the bubbles rise to the top and then I will give them a little pop. So while that's all settling, I will put this into the base. Now I'm not taking the silicone tool and going around all of the edges because of the mica, the chameleon powder. I don't want to disturb it. This I can go a little bit faster with because it's just all the one big area. Looks like it's going to be not a bad amount. I have got a skull mould here waiting for more black resin so that if I've got too much it's fine. And here's Granny Annie. She always appears when I'm filming.
Oh shoot. Sorry.
It's okay, 2 minutes. Ah, perfect amount I think.
I see, no,
so it looks like 160 mils of resin is pretty perfect. Just maybe 150 you would get away with. I'm going to pour the rest of this into my skull and then I will pop the bubbles. Granny Annie is away now. We're sorted. And this tiny wee bit here is annoying me, I have to say. Anyway, I'm just going to take my lighter again because it's pretty much domed actually where the edges are. I don't want to use the alcohol spray, plus you can still see some of the chameleon on the edges and I don't want that to float. So I'm just going to use my long neck lighter. Right, and this bit here is bowing ever so slightly. I don't know if it was the way that it was packaged. But I think what I will do when I fill the mould up with clear later on, I'll prop something against that bit. I don't think it's an issue just now, but I think it might be later. Right, let me just pop these. I don't want to get too close because the mould is higher than the resin. I might use my heat gun again. There's actually not too many bubbles now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, I might put my heat gun on and give that a try. I'm just always worried that the heat gun, the air from the heat gun is going to make it go whee all over the place. And that is the technical term, whee. The heat gun definitely does pop the bubbles. It's really cool to watch it. It's just a case of not getting it too close so that the resin doesn't spill everywhere. But yeah, I think this is it just now. I'm going to leave that. If I do manage to get back to it in about 4 hours time, then great. And if not, it'll be tomorrow that I come back to it and do the next layer. All I need to do now is fill the rest of this mould up with clear so that it's got the little lip on the bottom that sticks into the base. Right, I'll see you soon. Right, it is now about 4 hours later, and although I wouldn't be able to unmould it, I don't think, it's definitely tacky enough for me to do my final layer on it and leave hairs as well. Ha! Now, when I left you, hold on, I'm going to move the base as well. It's definitely, it says 4 hour pre-mould, but definitely not, way too bendy. Anyway, when I left you, this did start to overflow a bit, so I used a couple of pipettes just to soak up some of the black, which did work. But I also had my big cleanup gloves on. I've got 2 sizes of gloves. I've got smaller ones for when I'm actually working on a project and I've got boxes of the big gloves that are just getting in my way, so I use them for clean up anyway. I had them on because I was cleaning things up and I realised it was all overflowing, so I grabbed the pipettes, and the next thing I knew, the finger from my pinky glove was going in the resin, and oh, what a mess we made. But we got there. So there is actually a little bit of clean up to do in here from where I was making a mess. Let's see if I can get this out with this, or do I have to get a baby wipe? Oh no. Let me see. Now it's clear that I'm pouring in for the final layer, so I want to make sure that there's not anything in the mould before I do that. Yeah, it's a little bit messy, Fiona, although you won't really see this bit anyway because it will be in the base, but I don't know how much of it goes into the base. So let's just take out what we can. Now I don't know if I need to fill this all the way to the top. It's going to take quite a bit of resin if I do, I would think. I don't know if it has to be completely domed to be able to stand in the stand, if you know what I mean. But what I'm thinking is, if it's not full, I could probably get away with gluing the base in as long as it's sturdy enough to stand up. Not gluing the base in, gluing the sign into the base if it's not quite thick enough. Did I get that or not? Hold on. I'm just making more of a mess. Right, I'm going to leave it because I'm making more of a mess. Now, I have got the 4-hour fast cure epoxy here again. Look at the bubbles. It's been heating up, I don't know. Anyway, the reason that I've got this, I'm not planning to unmould it today, but it's the only resin that I've got left in any quantity, so I had to go with it. And to be honest, I haven't been that impressed with it. I don't think there's anything really that I'm going to need to use the fast cure for very often, so I think I'll just stick to normal epoxy now. I just wanted to give it a go, but look at all the bubbles in it, and it really is thick. It doesn't give you much time to work at all. So I've got 100 mils in here anyway. I'm going to go with it. And we will see what happens. I'm not putting a colour in to be able to... I wonder if I should put a little bit of glitter, a little bit of sparkle in just to give it a bit... No, just stick with the clear, Fiona. You won't see it anyway. Right. I am just going to go ahead and pour this in, and we'll see how we get on. I see another little bit here that's going to annoy me because, oh, hairs, because it's red. I don't know where that came from. Here we go. I could be here all day picking at it. Right, let's just pour and see what happens. But look how cloudy. I mean, I have stirred this for a good 5 minutes. I didn't want to stir for too much longer because I don't want it to start getting hot before I poured it. And it's the final layer, so it's going in all of it. Apart from the hollow bits in between the letters, of course. But what I'll do is I'll pour the majority of it and then I'll put my heat gun on it before it gets too full. Right. And yeah, we'll see how that does with the bubbles. So let's give that a go. Right, there's still quite a lot of bubbles that are far down, so I'm going to give them a little help to come up to the surface, because really the heat only pops the surface bubbles. It won't get right down into it. So I don't know if the camera's picking up these bubbles here. They're way down there. That just come. I don't mind putting my wee tool in now, as long as I stay away from the edges where the mica is, the chameleon powder. Oh, I just scraped the back. Oh, that might have messed that up. So much for the 4-hour demold. It's even that soft that my silicone tools just scraped it. I'm not impressed at all with that. Oh, that's going to annoy me. There's nothing I can do now without making more of a mess. Hopefully it won't be too bad. I don't think I've scraped the actual mica powder off. Oh! Right, we'll give it another blast. Definitely do like the heat gun trick. It does help with the bubbles. Alright, let's go in with some more resin. I'm going to have enough here to dome it, I would think, which is good. Maybe. I forgot about that bit there that's sort of bowing a little bit. For some reason the resin doesn't seem to want to be going right in there. Anyway, I'll need to find something to put against there. What is going on with that? I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but there's a bit there that the resin doesn't seem to be wanting to go into. That's it. It was maybe just a big bubble. I'll need to find something to put against that. Right, I wonder, am I going to make a mess if I try to blast it and put these back in, because we are a little bit uneven. Although, to be honest, I would rather have more of the resin down where the stand is, where the stand bit goes into the base. Another bubble there, underneath. Bubbles do like to form where there's any sort of anything sticking out in your resin, so like the outline of the letters attracting them. Usually like sharp corners as well, resin doesn't like that. The other thing to remember with a heat gun and resin as well is not to concentrate your heat gun on one spot for too long, because you can burn your resin or your mould. You don't want that. Definitely going to have to get something to put there, but I'll worry about that in a minute. Now there's still loads of little surface bubbles. I'm going to give it a squish with the alcohol this time. Isopropyl alcohol, here we go. It will disturb any bits of the chameleon powder on the edge that it touches, but hey ho. And that, as they say, is that. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and squish any bubbles as they appear. And this little bit of gold that's now floating. Where did you come from? We've got a floater. We have got a floater. Hey, got it. Right, so I'm going to find something to put against this. And yeah, I'll babysit it for bubbles, and I will come back to you in the morning and we can get it all unmoulded and see what it looks like. Good morning, it is the next day and my favourite part of the resin process, the unmoulding. I do get a little bit anxious when it's a gift for somebody, but hey ho, I'm looking forward to seeing how this has turned out since it's the first time I've used this mould. Let's have a look at the base first. Hopefully, yep, it seems to have taken on the mica powder okay, the chameleon powder even. Let's have a look. Ooh, nice. There are a few little bubbly areas, but that's okay. My dad won't notice that. If I was doing it for like to sell or anything, I would probably patch those up. But I actually quite like it. I think it gives it a bit of character. It's a little bit different. Got a wee bit over pour there, but that's fine. I can fix that. Yep, happy with that. Now, this is the one that I'm worried about. We'll see how the photo went, and also, you don't know if the camera's picking up the bit down there that I managed to scrape the black off when I was trying to get the bubbles out. It should have been cured by that point, but clearly wasn't. But hey ho, let's have a look and see. Oh. Again, the micas came off, the chameleons came off okay. Are we ready? I like it. The photo isn't great. I don't know what's happened there. You can see, I did seal it twice, but it's like some of it's, oh, actually some of it's not got resin on it properly. I might just put some UV resin on just the photo. Yeah, I'm not keen on this bit here. I think next time I would actually laminate the photo rather than just sealing it with Mod Podge, because I don't think that's worked particularly well. But the actual frame I like. Yeah, you can see the distinction between the letters, which is something that I was worried about, but you can see it. And look at, can you see all the micro bubbles in this? That's ridiculous. I sat for ages spraying it with alcohol and things. I'm really not keen on that resin, I have to say. That's the J. Diction 4-hour epoxy. Yeah, not overly impressed with that resin. And again, there's a few little bubbles there, but it matches the base. Will we see if it stands up okay in it? It does. Wait, I'll bring you down and show you. There it is. I like it. I do like how it's turned out, I have to say. I'm not that impressed with the photo, and if I had time I would probably do it again, but to be honest, it did take a lot of resin. I forgot to check how much was left after the after pouring the clear, but I reckon it was probably about 20 mils, so I think all in all this frame takes, the frame and the stand takes about 200 mils of resin, I would say. But yeah, I like it. Do you see the colour change in the chameleon? The gold and the green? I like that as well. Let's see if I can get better light on it. Can you see that? Yay! I do like it. I do like it. And you could glue it into the frame, but into the base, but to be honest, oh, I can't do it left-handed. It fits pretty well. It's not really moving about too much. Yeah, I do. I like that. And although this is a Father's Day gift, it would be great for birthdays, Christmases, or just an appreciation gift, just to say, I love you, Dad. Yeah, I really like that. It occurred to me as well that if I didn't want to do the black in the Dad, if you were just using a normal mica powder and you were happy to pour it all in clear, you could do the mica powder around the letter, on the letters and the base, and then just pour it all in clear, and you could do it all in the one pour rather than having to do it in separate pours. You can certainly do it that way. It would, if you were against the clock, then that would be a good way of doing it as well, and it would give it a different look. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. I am going to probably dome that photo bit with some UV resin. I might give it a bit of a sand and then put some UV resin on it, and we will see what difference that makes. And then I will take some photos of it for you and put it in after I finished yapping to you. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I do like that frame. That is from Beebeecraft and the Mould even. I will link it below for you along with my discount code for them. And yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? If you've enjoyed it, please do hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in our next one. Here comes the photos. Bye!